Hello, Facebook world. Hi, my name is Greg. I am friend of Peter 444, and I am sitting here in my living room with select members of cast and creative team and crew of Peter 444's upcoming production of Daddy Longlegs from their living rooms. Say hello, everybody.
Hi! Hi! Here, tell us who's here.
Yes, please do comment along. Let us know if you are watching. We have a burning number of questions to ask this crew here about Daddy Longlegs, a musical that is being live streamed from Pat Singer Hall in the Waterloo Library and Historical Society, November 13th and 14th at 8 p.m. and November 15th at 2 p.m. Produced by Theater 444, one of our favorite community theater groups located in Geneva, New York. Founded in 2016 by artistic director Pam Raposa, who is here with us this evening. Inaugural production of Spring Awakening, and since then, a combination of musicals that you've rarely seen before, some edgy, some family friendly, some perfect for children like Polka Dots or A Year with Frog and Toad, mixed with contemporary musicals like Spring Awakening or The Last 5 Years, or even reimagined sort of standards like Pippin. And that's just a snapshot of what Theater 444 has produced. You can find out more at theater444.com or by liking this Facebook page and staying up to date with everything that Theater 444 is doing, because a pandemic cannot slow us down.
Right. True.
That being said, the most current and exciting event produced by Theater 444 is Daddy Longlegs, a musical you have likely not seen before. Music and lyrics by Paul Gordon, book by John Caird, based on a novel by Gene Webster. A beautiful musical. I've listened to the soundtrack a million times, and I'm excited to see what you all put together in just a couple of weeks for us. That being said, let's dive into some questions.
Yay.
So I suppose when I ask you a question, please feel free to start by introducing yourself and sharing your role in the production. I do have questions specifically for all of you in this live.
Boy.
So Pam, can you start by just telling us, what is Daddy Longlegs about?
Yeah. Daddy Longlegs is actually an old story. It was a book that was written many years ago, and then made into several movies, and there's been several adaptations of it. And what would we call it? Like, I would call it like a cross between You've Got Mail and Jane Austen.
Ooh.
It's like a little bit of Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah. So there's a young girl who a gentleman is her benefactor and sends her to college. This is back in the early 1900s, and he decides to send her to college, and his only stipulation is that she write him letters and never expect a response. So it's initially her diary, the show, of her years in college and her growth and what happens to her. And I won't give away the ending.
You'll have to buy tickets to find out.
Something wonderful happens.
Perfect. I love that description. I'm sold already just by what you chose to sort of compare it to.
Oh,
in similarity. That's exciting. Who doesn't love You've Got Mail? If you don't love Jane Austen, revisit it as an adult. Because it's more accessible than as a high school student or college student.
Yes.
Marilla, you're my next victim. So this is Marilla Gonzalez, if you don't know, actress, singer extraordinaire, Marilla, what do you spend your days doing?
What do I spend my days doing?
Yeah, we know that you sing in the evenings with your sisters, the Lipker sisters. You can find them all over the place.
Yes, we do have a Facebook page for the Lipker sisters if you want to catch our shows. But during the day, I own and operate the Waste Not Shop in Geneva, New York. It's a little plastic-free refill shop, so you can come get bulk food and plastic-free goodies.
It is a cute and important store. It's worth the trip. Wherever you are.
Shameless.
But it's so cool that you've chosen to do that, and how brave. And I hope your store's been weathering the pandemic well enough.
It's been okay, yes. We are obviously, it's been a really challenging year, but we're paying the bills, and that's all that counts right now. And so we're just taking it one day at a time, and we've been really appreciative of all the support in the community. So we're very thankful.
Support
awesome.
Local.
Yay, community support is so important.
Yes. Marilla, can you tell us about the character? You are one of two characters in this musical. Can you tell us a little about your character? Like, what does she want and what does she do? What can we expect to see your character doing when we buy tickets and watch?
Well, Jerusha is a very charming young lady. She is super imaginative. She reminds me of Anne of Green Gables, very plucky. She has a lot of dreams. She wants to become a writer. And so she's a little theatrical in the sense of, she paints wonderful pictures of everyday experiences that she has as she's growing up. But she wants to be taken seriously, and she wants to be able to support herself and be independent, even though, she's had this massive gift of an education. She never loses sight of wanting to be able to take care of herself and pay back her debts and then give back to where she's come from. So that's really a beautiful little part of her character.
I love it. I can't wait for more.
Greg, I have a clip. I have a little rehearsal clip. You want to see it?
Let's see it.
That's me.
That's exciting, Marilla. And I've heard that later on in this live interview, you'll be singing live for us.
I have heard that too, and we will see how that goes. It's always an adventure on live stream.
Right. Everyone, we have a live performance of Marilla singing from the show to look forward to.
I'm not nearly as angry as I am in that clip for the song I'm singing tonight.
So Damon, Mr. Damon Fletcher, you are the second of two actors in Daddy Longlegs. Can you tell us a little about yourself? And then again, same question as Marilla. Tell us a bit about your character.
Yeah, hi. I'm playing the part of Jervis in this show. I'm currently a sophomore at broadcast and mass communication major at Oswego. I do a little bit of performing up there as well, but ever since coronavirus, the show I was actually in got postponed, and I haven't actually been performing on campus. So that's a little something that I do on the side when I'm up on campus. And I actually really generally like this experience of being able to come home and get on stage again. It's been over a year since I've been able to do something like this. And it's a lot of fun playing this character. Really, what you end up learning about him is he's a trustee who was born into a rich family and is a little bit of a writer himself. And he decides to send money to different people to push them into an education to be an author, so he can bask in the shadows when they are successful and be that little small successor and be like, I'm the reason you're here. It's really interesting to see how that develops throughout the show. And unfortunately, I think that is all I can tell you.
Without giving too much away.
Cliffhanger.
I think we lost Cindy. Here she is again.
Technical difficulty. Sorry, my phone just went.
That's okay. Someone's typing or something. I can't. I don't know where it's coming from, but and then it just stopped. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Well, I have a couple of Damon. Let me try it.
Let's hear Damon.
I am just a fool, imposter, and fake, like the lady of the lake. I'm drowning in the waves of my deceit, but rescued at your face each time we meet.
Damon.
Oh, Damon.
We actually took some really nice pictures today of the show, Greg, and I mean, our set is lovely.
Look how beautiful that is. This is Bessemer Hall in the Waterloo Library.
Yeah,
Oh, that looks so cute. We haven't even seen these pictures. Aww. Oh,
yeah.
I love that one.
The piano, the colors of the walls and everything. This looks perfect. And we will hear from a little bit more from the Waterloo Library in just a few moments. And those pictures made me really excited to ask that question coming up here. So, but first, Meredith Beckley, I'm going to ask you a question. Music director extraordinaire, Theater 444 favorite, or maybe that's just me being biased. How would you describe the style of music in Daddy Longlegs? And then I have a couple of follow-ups, but let's start with that.
Geez, that's a good question. There's so many different feels to all the songs. First of all, the music is gorgeous, especially the piano. There's all kinds of little embellishments in the accompaniment that are fun for me to play. I think so many of the songs have a different feel. There's some jazz, there's some ballads, and it's just kind of all different styles. Something for everyone.
I think that's exciting.
Yeah.
And we know that, so we'll be hearing just a piano, right?
Well, yes. As of right now, it's just going to be piano.
Okay, but it sounds like the score is very well suited to be heard by a piano.
It is, yeah.
Also exciting.
Thank God, because it's always difficult to find musicians.
Fact.
Yeah.
So Meredith, a couple of follow-up questions for you.
Yeah.
Would you say that the score of Daddy Longlegs is similar to any other musicals we might be familiar with?
I'm going to say Les Mis a little because it's the same composers, and there's even a few elements in there that sound similar to some of the other songs.
I was going to say that today when I was listening to it today.
You can hear them if you're paying attention.
There's some Les Mis in there for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
So when you buy tickets and you're watching Daddy Longlegs, and if you're a Les Mis fan, listen for it.
That's right.
Cool. And Meredith, do you have any favorite musical moments that we should watch for?
All of it.
All of it.
I mean, Damon and Marilla are incredibly talented, and it's just a joy to sit at the piano and listen to them. So all of it. I'm
That
not
was-
biased or anything, but
Meredith, that's a very diplomatic answer.
yeah.
Meredith, you're supposed to say,
You know-
I'm your favorite.
Well,
You know, though, I mean, I was thinking this today during rehearsal. Every time a song pops up, I'm like, oh, I love this song. Oh, I love this song. I love this song. It's one of those shows where there's just so many beautiful numbers that it's hard to even pick and choose because it's just the music is really lovely. It really is.
So one of the things that is most unique about this production is that it is live streamed, and that decision was made as a result of the coronavirus pandemic that we know well at this point. Pam, can you talk to us about what your process was in making that decision and what some of the challenges have been and why Daddy Longlegs specifically?
Yeah. So I just noticed Barb asked, how do you all feel about doing this online versus live audience? And man, Barb, it was a hard decision. We love live theater. And so there's very limited things we could do because of the COVID situation and the health and safety regulations that are out there. We didn't feel safe bringing a bunch of people into a room together, even if it was carefully thought out. We just didn't feel comfortable doing that, and we didn't want to put the library in that situation either. So we tried to find a solution. And so one of the first solutions is to do something like this, where you all get on Zoom and you have little squares and everybody does their thing. And lots of theater companies all over the country are doing it that way. And it's certainly valid and it's working for a lot of companies. But our hearts were just in missing musical theater, which is really hard to do like this when you're not in the same room. The sync just doesn't work. There's a lag, and you'll see Moreau's going to use an accompaniment track because Meredith is in a different place, and they just couldn't. There was no way to sync them up. So it poses a whole bunch of scenarios and problems. So we came down to, let's just do the show and then we'll film it and we'll show it. And then we thought, well, we could record it but that just didn't seem the same, because one of the things I love about live theater is that it's live and everything that happens is in the moment and it's right then and it's with what's going on and it's different every night. And that's one of the things that I think we all love about it the most. So we decided to do this live. So that's challenging. It's going to be challenging because we don't know what's going to happen with the technical stuff, but we are going to have our technical team here next Sunday night to talk to you all about all of the technical pieces of it, because there's lots of pieces that are going on now getting us ready for it. But that was kind of why we picked Daddy Longlegs, because the show is written in a narrative that allows both actors to be in different places for the bulk of the show. So because it's letter writing and they're writing to each other, they're never together except very, very occasionally. And we've taken some precautions for that. So I think we've done a good job. It seemed like a good choice, a safe choice. And we've put lots of protocols in place to keep everybody safe. And we're doing great. We're doing great so far. So knock on wood.
And of course, when you decided that you wanted to do a musical and be in the same space, the first step is going to be, well, where on earth do we do this? Because Theater 444 does not yet have its own facility. And really something that I think is really cool about it is that a Theater 444 production will pop up anywhere.
We're everywhere.
A winery, Zoom,
Right.
anywhere. a high school stage. It's all over the place. Although I know that a dream is to have its own space at some point in time. But Daddy Longlegs gets to be presented in a very special room in the Waterloo Library. And so here, representing the Waterloo Library and Historical Society is Cindy, who I don't know yet. Hi, Cindy. I'm Greg.
Hi.
I'm excited that you're here. Can you tell us a bit about how the library became involved in Daddy Longlegs? And I also heard that you have lent a whole bunch of sort of props and set dressing, and I would love to know a few of your favorite pieces that are making it into the musical.
Yeah, so Pam and I have a theater background. So my first theater show was The Wiz, and I think Pam was the choreographer for it.
Yeah.
So actually, I mean, that was a number of years ago. So we've known each other on and off for a long time. So Pam reached out to us and said, "Hey, I'm interested in doing a show. I think your space would work for this." And we talked to our board, and they felt it was safe, especially because of, there's 2 people. It's a limited cast. It keeps our numbers in the building low, although we are open to the public for the library. But our theater holds about 120 people at capacity for all the seating. And so it gave plenty of room for social distancing, to people to be able to sing and to perform. And it was a neat fit because it's something that we haven't done, and we're really trying to use Spatsinger more, and we really want to improve it a lot in the next 2 to 5 years, just comfortability and things. So we're actually really excited that this is lending this really neat, different opportunity for it to be used. And, theater, it was meant to be a lecture hall in a theater, but at the same time, I think when they built it in 1880, that they had no idea that this was ever imaginable. And that's what I love about theater, and that's what I love about libraries. It can be anything. They can be anything. If you have the idea, it'll happen. So
that's exciting. Story too. There's so many books in the story too. So
yeah, and it's based on a historical novel. How perfect is that to take place in it? So that's a lot of fun. It just fit. So yeah, Pam was talking about a prop, and I said, "Hang on a second, come over here. We have a whole museum." And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's a museum." And I just started pulling stuff out. And there's the typewriter, and the bookshelf was already there. And there's like little stamp pieces, embossing, and a whole bunch of stuff. And I don't know, we had fun playing with the typewriters, trying to make them not necessarily work, but work for the show if it still does. And
Cindy Damon said to me, "I don't know how to use this thing." He's too young. Yeah. He doesn't know what a typewriter is.
Yeah. Today I was bragging because I was getting the paper and the typewriter faster. So I was like, "Oh, I've been practicing."
We were actually practicing because there was like 3 or 4 typewriters. We're like, "Does the paper go in this one? How does it work in this one?" Because they're really weird typewriters. They're not necessarily like your typical like modern typewriter. They have like weird different feeds in the back and on the top. They're unique ones. So glad it's working.
Yeah. I've been getting better at it. I've been trying to impress everybody with my new typewriter skills.
I'm impressed.
Well, thank you, Cindy. I have another question for you before we're done. So hold tight if you're able.
Okay.
Let's move to Rochelle. We haven't talked to Rochelle yet.
Yeah.
This is Rochelle Coons, another Theater 444 standby. Rochelle, what do you spend your days doing?
During the day, I work at a local hospital, working as a secretary on an inpatient mental health unit. And then I just recently finished my master's degree in clinical psychology with my specialization in forensics. Yay!
Forensics. Woo.
Yeah. So I just finished that, and now Pam approached me and said, I know you just finished school, but I want to do the show. We're going to stream it. And I said, okay.
Look at Meredith and Rochelle always say yes, no matter what I say.
That's true.
So I love them for that.
Yeah. So I'm stage managing, and I, along with Cindy, have been doing props for the show.
Very cool. And Rochelle, the weekend of the musical, while everything is being live streamed, do you know what your role is yet in making all of that happen?
Yes, I think.
I know it's developing because you're all learning how to do this. So
Yeah. So it's interesting. There are points where, like, on a normal stage production, you would have a blackout or a transition or a scene change or something. And we can't really have that because we're streaming. So we've come up with a solution. And there's a lot of important dates and places in the show. So we're kind of showing those on the screen. And my job is to make sure that the actors get to where they need to be before they need to be on camera again. So we're playing red light, green light. It's a lot of fun.
She has a little sign she's wearing.
I do. I made a little sign. One side's red and one side's green.
That's what that is.
Clever, Rochelle.
Yes, that's what that is.
I love that. If I could just be a fly on the wall during a night of streaming, I bet it's impressive and hilarious and scary and exhilarating.
All of the above.
I'm so excited for all of you. I wish I could be part of it.
I have a picture of Meredith here from today.
Anyway, responsible learning math.
Yeah, see that we have on the piano. We have our
COVID kit.
sanitizer, COVID stuff. Temperature.
Yeah, you have sanitizer, wipes, and the thermometer on the piano at all times.
Marilla and Damon, you can sort of tag team this if you want. I'm just curious what it's like to act in this format. I mean, I imagine that you're taking into consideration where the cameras are and where your audience is because they're not there in the room with you. So what's that been like?
Damon, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, it's been different. Because usually when you're on stage, you're used to staging yourself towards like where an audience would be. And in this case, your audience is where the camera is. So it's not just like one general broad direction of like where you're staging things. It's kind of like you have to remember, the camera's going to be here or there, or it could be over there or over here. And it's kind of like, you got to kind of remember what that allows you to do and within your space. And having distance from the audience obviously definitely creates confusion with your timing sometimes, or sometimes your timing relies on a reaction and you don't necessarily have that reaction when nobody's there with you. And so it's kind of different with how you time things and stuff. I actually almost related it to being on a set in a sense, with like cameras being rolled on you, of doing broadcasting things on campus, but it is still different and unique in its own way.
Yeah, like, how do you deliver, usually when you're on stage, you deliver a joke and then there's the wait for everybody to laugh, see if it lands. And really there's nothing. It's just crickets on purpose. And it's you've got to figure out how to deliver a joke without any reaction is tricky. I've honestly gone back and looked at some of my cheesy, MGM musicals that they would film, like Gene Kelly and stuff. I was like, oh, they never had any laugh tracks or anything, and those were hilarious. So I've been watching clips of those and okay, wait, how did they just maneuver themselves through this so it wasn't awkward? Because those were very much musicals, but they were, recorded, and so it's a little bit of similarity for me, but it's definitely been strange, and it's been strange, connecting with your, with the other actor, because number one, we're writing letters to each other most of the show, but number two, we also have to keep in mind to keep our distance for most of it and have that in our heads. So that's been an interesting factor as well.
Cool. And we haven't spoken to her yet, but we have Abigail Reagan here, who I also don't know yet either. Hi.
Hi.
Abigail.
And there she is. What's interesting about Abigail in this particular moment in time is that Abigail is an understudy for Marilla's character, which of course we have in theater all the time, particularly for long-running shows, not always for shows that are one weekend. Seemingly could be important, knock on all kinds of wood here, given pandemic status, have people like in the wings ready to fill in if needed. But Abigail, I'll share with you and everybody watching that after auditions happened, Pam called me and said, Abigail showed up and auditioned, and she's so talented. I need to use her somehow. And she's so excited that you agreed to understudy Marilla. And I know she thinks very highly of you. So I know that we might not all see you in Daddy Longlegs, but I have no doubt that you are so enjoyable to watch. And I'm sure we will see you in something in the future properly in your own role.
That's right.
Yes.
But Abigail, my question for you is, well, first, I mean, you can tell us something about yourself. I would love to know something about you. And what has it been like to understudy this process?
It's been really interesting, to say the least. I've never been an understudy for anything before, let alone during a pandemic and under these circumstances. So it's been honestly a really great experience. I've been able to learn a lot about developing a character, learning things. Like I've been usually during a normal production, I'll rely on, kind of muscle memory while I'm learning, like blocking and learning songs and everything. But I haven't really had a lot of that. So I've really had to learn, new ways to get into my character and get into kind of the flow of things and being able to like learn about just everything. It's been really exciting, honestly. It's been really exciting just to be able to be a part of this and be able to act again, because I think that's something that everyone has been missing a lot. So yeah,
I know when I called Abigail and asked her to do this, I said to her, I know this is sort of a thankless job. It's really doesn't feel good for actors to have to do that, but she was so excited to be involved with a production because of the pandemic, and we've been all just starving to do theater. So she was just so excited to just be involved, and we're so glad she's with us because we also enjoy her.
And guys, she's so good. If I keeled over tomorrow, you would be in good hands. So good. Sometimes she gets up there and I'm like, oh, okay, Abby knows what she's doing.
I was going to tell you, Marilla, Abby knows all of Act Two's lines.
I knew it too. And she gave you guys a great run last night because she's on it.
Yeah, I heard that you did get to play Jaruka in, did I say her name correctly? Jarucha in rehearsal last night. What was that like?
Yeah, it was great. Friday night, I got to run Act 2 and kind of put myself to the test a little bit because, I've watched Marilla and I can look at the set from the audience perspective and see it, but then to actually be on the stage and like in it, it's a lot different. It seems like you'd be able to like just click into a different gear, but it has been a challenge, but it's also really great because honestly it makes those little moments more rewarding in a sense, because being able to be like immersed in her world, it's like it was really great. It was really great. Yeah.
We're going to do one of the nights of the production that we're going to practice with the cameras. We're going to stream. We're going to let Abigail run the show one of those nights so we can record with her. So she has a recording of the performance. She's worked super hard, and she deserves that. So.
And she's amazing.
That's right.
I second that. I
Gosh.
just have to say, Abby showed up to her. Abby came to her vocal rehearsals, and not only did she have the songs nailed, but she went through the blocking to her different vocals every time, and I was so impressed.
She's awesome.
Yeah. Pam, we have now we're going to hear Marilla sing a song called "The Secret of Happiness," and then we just have some questions to wrap it up with all of you. So we're nearing the end here, but we still have more interesting info to find out. But first, a performance from Marilla.
Okay. Let's get this set. As I watched him go, I thought about today. You know, Daddy, it isn't the big troubles in life that require character. Anyone can rise to a crisis or face a crushing tragedy with courage. But to meet the petty hazards of the day with a laugh, I really think that requires spirit. I've discovered the secret of happiness is learning how to glide. I've discovered the secret of happiness is just enjoy the ride. Don't let the journey be tainted by pride. And I've discovered the secret of happiness is not to mourn the past. I've discovered the secret of happiness is not to run too fast. You can still beat them by coming in last, 'cause the secret of happiness is, I've discovered the secret of happiness is not to be afraid. And I've discovered the secret of happiness is all illusions fade. Don't fear the future, you'll just be delayed, 'cause the secret of happiness is living in the now, living in the time it takes to blink, I think is how I'm meant to be living. I've discovered the secret of happiness is following my will. I've discovered the secret of happiness is though we could run the hill, happiness comes when we learn to be still. And the secret of happiness is, the secret of happiness is clear. The secret of happiness is near. The secret of happiness is here.
That was beautiful, Marilla.
Oh, thanks. Now you all know the secret of happiness.
Chills on that song. I love that song so much.
Pam, how can everyone buy tickets?
Oh yes, please buy tickets. So all of the expenses are the same as if we were doing a live production with you in the theater. Because we put a setup and we bought costumes and we made props and all of those things cost money. And so the cost is exactly the same as if you were coming to the theater. So we would really love if people would buy tickets to watch. If you go to our website, theater444.com, it's theater with an R-E, you will see right at the top where you can purchase tickets. It might be a little confusing for some folks because it will ask you how many viewers are going to watch the production, because it will give you one code for one device. So if you're going to watch with another person at home on one device, on one computer. You might buy a ticket for 2 viewers, and it will give you one code in your email. It's pretty easy. You'll get an email. You'll click on the link. It takes you right to the production, and then it'll ask you for your code so you can get in. And then you go in, and it will start, and it'll be right there in front of you.
Like magic.
Like magic.
Tickets at theater444.com. Of course, if you have questions, always message us on Facebook, and Theater444 will happily help you in purchasing tickets because Daddy Longlegs needs you to buy tickets, to watch them, to support Theater444, to support all the hard work they've done. And what's really cool is that normally a theater audience is restricted to who can travel to the theater to get there. This production can be viewed from anywhere in the country.
In the world!
In the world!
Right?
So that is so cool. If you have relatives or friends that are in other states who love musical theater, or you think that they might like this story because they love You've Got Mail or Jane Austen or Anne of Green Gables
Or Les Mis.
or Les Mis, invite them to view this. It's a really cool opportunity. I know the pandemic has caused lots of chaos, but there have been some really cool, innovative things that have happened as a result, and I think this is one of them. So, I am so excited. Okay. Meredith and Rochelle, really quickly, why should people buy tickets from your perspective?
I'll go first, I guess. It is a beautiful story. I sit there and watch these two just pour their hearts out on this stage every night. And it honestly, just like Pam just said, the music gives you chills. It makes you feel all warm and cozy. There's songs that are, more dramatic, but then there's the songs that are just sweet and simple and just need to be heard. These messages, even though they're written so many years ago, are still very prevalent today because these people are separated. And it kind of shows, how two people can be so separated and yet still so connected. And that's really prevalent, and it's something that needs to be seen in this time especially.
Good answer, Rochelle.
Yeah, I gotta follow
that, Meredith.
Well, I stand by my original statement that the music is just absolutely beautiful. That's always what draws me in, is the music. And also, I didn't realize how much I needed this until we started rehearsals. And having had so much time away from music was not good. And once I started this again, I thought, okay, now I'm feeling like things are a little bit more like normal. And I think everyone needs a little bit of normal right now. Even if it's coming to us in a different way, it's still a way to enjoy theater and music in the ways that we so long to right now.
Also a good answer, Meredith.
Okay, good.
Marilla, do you have a favorite part of Damon's performance?
I wish I could be Jervis. One of these times we're gonna flip. Yeah, look out, Damon. Yes, I love so much about his part. His music parts are so beautiful. They kind of weave in and out of Jerusha's songs. And I really love once you start to realize what's going to happen and what's going to happen to these two people. He just has some moments that the music combined with what he's going through, like the confliction that he's going through, really just tug at your heartstrings. And I love that. Like, he just opens his mouth and sings this beautiful line, and you're like, oh, poor Jervis. Even in moments where you really don't even know why, but it's just his music is beautiful.
Damon's voice is gorgeous.
It is. I'm constantly in the sidelines being like, yes.
She does.
Yeah.
Today, yes.
I feel like you might be naming a future pet Jervis.
Jervis. Maybe like a lizard. I don't know. I don't know, David.
Damon, do you have a favorite part of Marilla's performance?
Yeah, I actually really appreciate how Marilla is able to build character. And like watching her develop this character, I just love her ability to be so like young and innocent, but at the same time completely mature. Like I feel like that's like really like hard to do. And I just like really watch her like develop into her character, and like I feel like she's just fun to watch. Like I just.
Thanks.
And Greg, I do have one clip of both of them I can show you.
Yes, please.
And just excuse my shaky camera. I was moving, trying to find the right spot.
Yay! Abby, since you have, as an understudy, have been able to observe the entire show and their entire rehearsal process, what do you think an audience will enjoy most about watching Daddy Longlegs?
Most about watching the show? Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just making sure. Okay.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, these two, I can't get enough of them. They do such a beautiful job with telling this story. Every time I get to sit there and watch them, I'm just like, oh, because that's how I would describe it. I don't know how else to describe it. I think anybody who watches it will immediately, even though it's distance, will immediately be just enthralled and just like completely into the story just because of how amazing and talented they are. And they do such a good job being able to not look at each other during the whole show, but have that like unity between them. That's really great. And I think everyone should watch it because I think I know.
I agree, yeah. I agree. That's what I do too. I'm like, oh.
Right, because it's so beautiful, and just the way that they intertwine without actually being physically together is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the most unique things that you can have right now too.
Yeah,
it's really unique.
Cindy, how else can people support the Waterloo Library and Historical Society? I know that Theater 444 is super appreciative of having this space. So how else can we support you and what you do?
Well, I mean, like I said, we are open to the public. I mean, if you want to come in, we just ask that you have safety precautions, masks, wash your hands, be safe, if you really want to see what a space like that is like. But you can donate. I mean, like I said, we're really hoping to improve the space. The seats aren't the best, most comfortable right now. We're hoping that we get to make some great changes that make it the best, one of the greatest places in Waterloo, which is pretty small, not very many places, but, to come see live theater, just, maybe see movies or lectures, do different things. I mean, like I said, you can donate, you can come visit and just watch the show. I think, just getting that and getting, buy your tickets, watch the show, get excited for it, and come back and see us.
Will do. I will be there. And last but not least whatsoever, Pam, if you had to describe Daddy Longlegs in 3 words for an audience, what 3 words would you choose?
Oh my. That's really hard.
That's 3 words.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said that's 3 words.
Smart, I would say it's very smart. It's not a show that you're gonna just sit and do something else while you're watching it. It's not that. It's not like that. You've got to pay attention because it's pretty smart. It's charming and hopeful.
Yeah.
And that's what we need right now.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. It sounds wonderful. For the 5th time tonight, I'll say I'm excited. I can't believe.
Me too.
Those are all of the questions that I had for you tonight. If anyone who is still viewing has any burning questions that have not been answered, feel free to type them away, and we can spend a few minutes here answering any impromptu questions. But otherwise, please buy tickets at theater444.com to see Daddy Longlegs.
And we've sold a few tickets so far, but we would really love to know that there are people watching us on the other side of the camera. It's a lonely event for us. We're kind of lonely in the theater on our own, but we're just hoping and praying there's going to be people on the other side of the camera. So, yeah.
Thank you to Pam and Marilla, and Abby and Damon and Rochelle and Meredith and Cindy for joining us tonight. This was so much fun to hear a little bit about your journey with the show so far, being live streamed. I'm really curious to hear more about the technical aspects. Next Sunday at 7, we'll be back live on Facebook to learn even more about Daddy Longlegs. So you can join us then, or you can always watch these anytime after that. They are available on the Theater 444 Facebook page as well.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Greg.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.